welcome to Reykjavik. My name is Brad King, DNS Black. I am currently been playing EVE Online for about 8 years. I am a coach in real life. I am a wrestling coach. I coach soccer. I coach football. Not football. Soccer, football. It's the whole European soccer football thing. I can't remember the difference. That. All right. I also coach wrestling. And for some reason, I'm also a video gamer. I am the walking oxymoron of the universe. But anyways, I love the game. And there's one thing that's consistent in all of these arenas that I participate in. There's a competitive edge that we enjoy to have. We enjoy playing games, having fun, building teams, so on, and all those differences. The hard part is, athletes are easy. You get them motivated. You open up the locker room and you send them out on the field. They understand the game and it's easy to motivate. Most of my friends in DNS, and DNS has been around for about 20 years now, they're all introverts. And you throw an introvert into a room with me and they run and hide in the corner. They get scared, like, shut up, stop talking. No, I'm a coach, you don't understand, that's what I do. And then as you know, I have one of those distinct troll getting punched in the face voices that everybody knows for some reason. But I started this program 3 years ago, was the first time I did it, and I enjoyed coming back and doing it always. But this year our theme is new players. And how as mentors and us, because CCP is going to fail at well, they already have. Every tutorial, I tried to do it. I actually tried to complete it, and I almost got divorced because I was so angry. I mean, it was really bad. So how are we going to make EVE last another 10 more years is what I'm talking about. And it's through us. It's through players. It's going to be us. And it's through us helping newer players experience the game that we fell in love with. And if you are a newer player, I got some ideas and some tips that you need to do. Well, anyways, on the waterfall tour, David, wrong slide. Why did you put this? All right, coaching them up in EVE. I want to start out by playing a short clip. I always relate things to some type of athletic event, athletic sport, and I give you an idea. When you hear people talking in athletics and teams and coaching, you're going to hear very similar things talked about as we move on. So could you please play that video?
Be social out there.
Social?
Social, like a greeter at the Gap. Guy steps into your office, chat him up. You're well read. You went to school.
Yeah.
Have some fun, relax. Everyone wants to attack. Quit trying to attack. Let the game come to you, man. There's no clock on this thing. This is a war of attrition.
If I take more, I could even take a few strikes, but I'll get walked more.
You get on base, we win. You don't, we lose. And I hate losing, Choppy. I hate it. I hate losing more than I even want to win. And there's a difference. No bunts.
Bunt isn't out. Not even third baseman's back.
No bunting whatsoever. If someone bunts on us, just pick it up and throw it to first. Don't try to be a hero and go to second. Let them make the mistakes.
Patient.
And when your enemy's making mistakes, don't interrupt them. They're giving you an out, man. They're just giving it to you. Take it. Say thank you. Another thing, no more stealing.
That's what I do. That's what you pay me to do.
No, I pay you to get on first, and I get thrown out a second. This is a process. It's a process. It's a process. Okay?
So, I saw that tape, and it's originally from the movie Moneyball, and it talks about a GM named Billy Beane that developed a way to play baseball differently because he knew he couldn't compete. The Oakland A's are one of the most poorest teams in Major League Baseball, but he found a way through mathematics, through doing things differently, to actually compete. And that's what new players need to know. They need to know that no matter how bad it gets, they can still compete because there's people like myself and the people sitting up here that care enough to help develop that human connection. That's what was going on there. And I really wanted you to recognize the fact it was all through verbal. Type chat is good for contracts and constitutions. Through verbal contact, talking with somebody, encouraging them, helping them be a better player. But you new players need to know also, you need to be willing to talk and develop and be part of that process. So there's Oh, we'll go round 2. All right. So, be social. Rookie channels, they're there. The typing is there. They're there to ask questions and identify what you need in the game. Find a player base. Find a training corp. They're all over the place. I know we always settle on Eve University, but I could probably name 20 or 25 individual organizations that love training new players. Dev training sessions, they're trying. Congratulations, CCP, you're starting to figure it out. But they are trying. Get your newer players to attend those dev training sessions, all right? They're going to learn a lot. And they're going to really begin to immerse themselves and realize the company that's building this game understands that that crux of getting in is hard. Local chat, be careful. Because newer players, I'm talking to you, you're joining a world of sharks, and you are a guppy, all right? And the minute you swim into the deep water, we're going to eat you up, all right? So what I want you to do is that local chat, don't ask questions there. Do what you can to find a place where they want to help train you. So, and local chat's fun, but don't believe any of it. I'm telling you, they will not double your money. So. Oh, I don't even go into that whole thing. So anyways, the war of attrition. You heard him talk about it in my short little clip, all right? Let the game come to you. How many have ever seen this picture before? Newer players, that is EVE Online. Get used to it. But I'll tell you this much. That climb you see happening, as an older player, it happens to me every time I play. There is a part of this game that I'm always learning and adapting and overcoming. So that is not something you need to fear. You need to embrace that, because no matter how long you play this game, no matter how long you're going to be involved in this game, that is going to happen over and over and over again. And I promise you this, the minute you think you made it, what they don't tell you is, what they don't tell you is no one has ever made it, but if somebody does, they kill him and throw him off the cliff anyways. All right, so it's a war of attrition. Let the game come to you. Be patient. Be patient. This game's about being patient. I've lost more expensive ships by being very impatient in this game. Hate losing. I didn't say I love winning. My dad told me a long time ago there was a story that I was told. He says, Brad, if you approach life like this, winning isn't everything. And I'll say it again, winning isn't everything, but losing sure does suck. All right? That's what that means. You've got to hate losing. You've got to be patient enough to realize that through the bottom section there, education and the key to survival, you will become better at this game. All right? You will. But you got to hate losing. All right? What's that saying? Everyone should know it. We probably all could quote it. Don't fly anything you can't afford to lose. And I'm burning through these. Do the simple things. It makes EVE easy. Newer players, I'm talking to you out there, and if you're here in the audience, if you do the simple things, organize your hangar, be diligent about all. Listen, I am a pack rat, and eventually somebody taught me some great organizational skills in EVE Online. If I would have had EVE Online while I was going through college, I probably would have been a doctor by now. But anyways, I learned more by doing the simple things. It made the game easy. And my final slide is what he ended with. Playing EVE is a process. It's a process. It's a process. Newer players, you've got to follow that process. If you think there are shortcuts in EVE, you're going to lose. All right? There are no shortcuts in EVE. You're dealing with a gaming community that has been around for 10 years now, and we still challenge ourselves, but we also understand we are going to be the generation that's going to carry the newer players if they are willing to follow the process. I know it sounds like work. It really isn't. It's just a challenge that if you continue to immerse yourself in this new Eden, the games that are coming out, Dust is now on PC. Oh, God, that was awesome. And Valkyrie. I think we're going to be part of a company's growth and a company that is identifiable and being brand loyal, that we're going to have a lot of fun being part of their universe, because there's no other game out there that not only do we get to immerse ourselves, we get to show up in Iceland, in Reykjavik, and share with all the devs. That's pretty. No, that's all right. So anyways, that's me. Follow the process, enjoy yourself, hate to lose, be social, get out there and meet these EVE players, because you're going to find out there's actually a lot, there are a lot nicer, kinder EVE players than the ones that get all the publicity. And thank you for coming to Coaching 'em Up in EVE, and I hope you enjoyed the alcohol and free t-shirts. But I'm going to get on to the next presenter. I brought the NOR Academy, a mercenary group here. Seth has been playing EVE for
about 4 years.
About 4 years. Seth is the training organization for NOR mercenaries, and I'm going to turn it over to Seth. I feel like Johnny Carson.
So, okay. So like you said, I'm with Noir Mercenary Group. My character's name is Cyan Aviander. I think that's how it's pronounced. We are a mercenary group. We were founded originally in 2008, and the next year we created Noir Academy because we felt like we needed a way to get people into the game, and we fly a very peculiar way. So we wanted to teach people, kind of like a master's class, not brand new players, but new players in many ways, how to fly sort of advanced, a little bit more than your F1 monkeys out there. I took over Noir Academy about a year ago, and I got it. I'm doing a little I took over about a year ago, and we'd had a lot of burnout for our leadership, and so one of my main goals was sort of restructuring the academy, making it so that our leadership, the burden wasn't unbearable, but we were still able to provide really good training for our members. So the way that we did that eventually, after trial and error, is presented here. So this is for you guys that have maybe new players in your corporation, and you're finding it hard to teach them, to really bring them into the game. This is kind of focused on you guys. So what I ended up doing, we kind of broke it down into steps, and your first step is to identify the challenges that you are facing. And this can be applied to any situation. This is kind of my specific situation, but you take the main points and you can apply it to no matter what your corporation's like, what your players are like, what their needs are. Our challenges, and many of these will apply to you guys, is that you're not in front of your players. You can look here and I can speak with you and we can have real feedback instantaneously. You can't do that in EVE Online. You're separated by a screen at the most, maybe language barriers. There's a lot of separation between you and the other person. Any of you that are dedicated to helping those new guys are volunteers. You're not being paid. No one's making you log in. You cannot show up the next day and the hell with everyone else, and there's nothing stopping you from doing that. And of course, there is a training lag. The things that you teach aren't going to be sort of caught on immediately. So those were my challenges that I was facing. You need to identify the ones that you guys have, that your players are having. From there, once you know your problems, you can start to identify your solutions. How are you going to tackle those problems? What do you need to teach? Are you very good at hot dropping, but you're terrible at gate camping? You need to identify how you're going to go about that. Is a practical solution going out there and actually doing it? Or is it maybe just talking? If you're using the same example, hot dropping, you can sort of just coach someone over that using your voice. Just right-click the ship, jump to, don't bridge, and that's it. But after that, you've identified what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. You need to refine it to make sure that it's streamlined, it's simple, it's easy, it's effective. Sorry, am I not in the light? And then you need to implement that. You need to make sure that it is actually being used, that you're actually doing it. And finally, of course, you need to evaluate, is it actually working at all? If not, maybe practicals aren't the thing that your guys are interested in doing, and they'd rather just take a written test or something. Maybe you've got weird people in your corporation. From there, what I learned was that there are three sort of areas of teaching a person. You've got knowledge, skills, and attitude. The first two, you can teach people. You can give them the knowledge. You can give them the skills. The way that we did this, for instance, is a lot of new players have problems identifying ships on site or even by the names. And so we directed them to the EVE quizzes. If you haven't seen them before and you are having this problem, I'd highly recommend them. Where it tells you the ship name, the race, what it does, et cetera, et cetera. You can teach people that kind of thing. You can't teach them to have a good attitude. That's something that we spent a lot of time on trying to rectify. And in the end, I realized that it's not my duty to make someone enjoy what we do as a mercenary. And that's kind of on their end. So don't kill yourself if they're not enjoying what you're trying to teach them, what you're doing. They may not be the right fit, is all. And from there, like I said, every group is different. We're very peculiar as mercenaries. Most people don't play the way that we do, and our problems and solutions are going to differ from your problems and solutions. But listen to the people that you're trying to train. If you've got new players in your corporation, if you've got people that are new to your specific type of play, lend them your ear. Really pay attention to what they need, what they want, and try to find the solution that works for you guys. And yeah, like I said, kind of make sure that what you come up with works for your trainers, works for your students, because as DNS Black said, CCP is not going to fill this gap. Noir Academy is one of many, and we can't fill it by ourselves either. Even if your corporation is not dedicated solely to bringing new players in, you've got to be able to support the new players that you do have in your corporation. And that is the very end. Thank you very much, guys.
I'll just talk real quick about Kane. The next presenter I brought, because I thought this was a epic hallmark year for us, seeing the PC side. Kane Sparrow is a member of the CPM, and by the way, Seth is also a candidate for CSM this year. It's like that pre-nervous stuff for tomorrow. I'm pretty excited. Well, you were, that's all right. His luggage got PvP'd somewhere over the North Atlantic, so. There you go. Kane is a member of the CPM. He's a Dust player and dabbles in EVE, but is definitely a Dust-centered individual. You mentioned Kane Sparrow on the forums, and everyone knows him. And he cares about his community, and I think as we move into the next 10 years, I am a firm believer that Dust and EVE, that link between the two communities, is going to grow, especially with it going to PC now. So I asked him to come speak, talk about how you can help people play Dust and those things. So Kane, it's all yours.
Yeah, talking and focusing on Dust as it is right now on the console. There's going to be changes. There's not a lot of concrete plans right now for Project Legion, but this Dust is still an experience that's currently in existence right now on TQ and affects EVE every day. So what is Dust? So New Eden is harsh, and so is Dust. Sometimes some would say too much so. The new player experience has a lot of issues with it right now. One, the tutorial's somewhat lacking, and the fact is you spawn into a match, you'll be looking around, and then you're going to be dead, and you don't know why. So the thing is, it's an MMO FPS set on the planets in New Eden. It takes place on TQ, whether it's the high-sec matches, whether it's low-sec matches, or faction warfare matches, it's all happening in the world. Right now, the EVE Dust link is, it's not a strong link, but it's interesting that even with this small link that exists now, the huge moves that people have made to merge these communities and to participate in both of these games. So right now, you just have POS bonuses, stuff like increased production time and decreased fuel cost for owning districts only in Molten Heath right now. And the other thing, it's a very visceral, tangible connection between the games, is the orbital support. Basically, you guys get to blow the hell out of us on the ground. So, and you get kill mails for it too now. So, now that happens in faction warfare and in planetary conquest. Now, the thing is, sometimes in Dust, it feels like this. Whether the eagle is Eve above you because it's this giant world and you feel like, well, what's our place in it? Or you're a new player and that's a proto-stomper coming down to just ruin your day. The fact of the matter is you have to persevere. Dust is difficult, but if you can stick with it, there is a way forward. And the thing is, there's a few key things that you can do to make sure that you can make it through. Now, pubs to proto here. The most important tool that you have in Dust is your mouth and your headset and communications. You have to talk to people. You have to connect to the people that you're playing with. And like part of that, squad or die. If you play solo, yes, some people can do it, but if you're a new player, find a squad. There's a squad finder tool in the game. Meet up with people, talk to those people, and figure out what the hell's going on. Because no one's going to handhold you and tell you. You have to seek out the knowledge. Now, that's a problem I hope maybe we can fix moving forward with things in Dust and with things in Project Legion, but that's kind of the reality that we have right now. There are some groups out there. Ivy League has a Dust version of itself. It's Dust University, headed up by Denny Fleetfoot, and is a fantastic organization. It is a place that you can learn the ropes in a safe environment with people that are either new or they've been around the block and they care about those new players. Now, one thing, the EVE community has always been there to help the new players, and it's amazing seeing the same thing happen in Dust too. CC may not fill the gap, but we are given the social tools to fill those gaps. Now, the other thing is, if you were to ever play Dust, don't just go in and say, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this assault rifle a little bit here. I'm going to dabble a little bit there. You can't do that. Just in a similar fashion to EVE, you have to focus your skills. Decide on something that seems to interest you, whether it be a logistics, whether it be a heavy, AV player. Focus those skills. Fill out that role first before you venture on to different things. Because if you focus, you can get to where the other higher-end players are faster and become effective even in in-game matches like Planetary Conquest. Now, the thing is, you have the choice of how you expand this connection, both on the EVE side and the Dust side. You can choose to completely ignore it, or you can choose to see if there's an advantage to it yourselves, with the current industry changes and all the things that are going on. Molten Heath maybe doesn't seem so boring anymore when you've got stuff like 40% reduction bonuses and POS fuel bonuses on every single temperate planet on the moon, on all those moons around those planets. So now the thing is, you can own the link, and you own the link by putting, actually engaging. You can't just say, oh, well, that's interesting. You engage that by talking to the people. You have to connect socially with these, now, Dusters, they're console players right now. They come from a different culture. Some of them are PC players as well, but that doesn't mean that they aren't people. And they're people that... But you have a human being on the other end of that connection. You guys can talk in voice comms and build those relationships. And that's one of the keys here. Even moving forward, what may happen with Dust, moving in Project Legion, there's still relationships to be built that will last through years and years and years into the future. And this is a moment in history where you can get in on the ground floor of a game and build relationships from the very foundation of it that will last for years and hopefully decades to come. And that's my little presentation. Yeah, thank you.
If you're familiar with DNS, we kind of hang out around Curse, and we go to a number of different places. And while I was wandering through Curse, I ran into probably the best bubble camp training organization that I've ever run into, because they kill me on a regular basis. They don't tackle the Arazu anymore. But Bren is a former Navy man and is an engineer. and he has put together an organization by the name of Art of War that is founded by a group called Ouch. And their sole purpose is to help new players go out and learn the basics of some of the most dangerous places in EVE to live. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Bren. Bren's presentation got nuked by the Navy. We're not sure where it is. So Bren's going to share what his approach is to helping get new players to survive and adapt and be better at playing the game of EVE.
Thank you. How you guys doing? My name is Bren Genzan. I'm the CEO or Executive Director of Art of War Alliance. We are 30 people in Art of War. The majority of those players are students of Open University of Celestial Hardship, known as Ouch. We're the rank 125 Alliance in EVE, and the rank 300 Alliance, 305 corporation on Battle Clinic. And it's done by 30 instructors and 70-ish students at any one time. We live in Curse. Curse is the most dangerous place in the universe, and it is the perfect place for you to teach nullsec survival and basic PvP. And what we've done is we've formed a little fraternity of people who are dedicated to coaching. I really hate all these lights. I don't like not seeing people. I am a Falcon pilot, so don't be offended. So what we've done is we first started off just like everybody else. They go out and tell you, you know, you want to learn how to PvP, or I want to go into nullsec because all the cool stuff's in nullsec. You know, everybody tells me I need a lot of ISK, and everybody tells me, oh, you're going to lose a lot of ships, or I can't go into high sec yet. I don't have enough skill points. And we take brand new players, a week old, and say, come out to Null Dude, we'll show you how to do this. You just have to get a little bit of training. All right, so we have a formal program, 3 to 4 months. Well, we give you 3 to 4 months to complete a formal program, teach you how to use your overviews, teach you how to use the D-scanner, teach you how to use bookmarks, tackling, weaponry, a whole lot of cool little stuff. Then we bring you out to Null, we let you get some kill mails, and when you're all done, you have to fly around through Curse, and not die. Which our students do, and then they graduate, and then we say, all right, go off to do whatever you want to do, because we're not a feeder corp for any alliance. You can decide to stay with us, or you can go out and do RVB, go run around with Noir, do what you want to do. We just bring guys through, teach them, and send them on their way, because we all love to teach. We used to have a trainer, 1 guy, 2 guys, and they push students out through Null. Push students out through our program, push students out through our program. They came to the PvP side, that was my side. We jack up people every day, and then you look over and you say, hey, there's no more students. That's because we don't have any trainers. And you're like, oh, because training is hard. Coaching is hard. So we changed our paradigm, or made a paradigm shift, whatever you want to call it, and we said, every combat pilot in Open University of Celestial Hardship will train. Every combat pilot in Open University of Hardship will be a coach. Every pilot in Open University of Celestial Hardship will be a mentor. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, one is get them all into TeamSpeak. We're all going to sit in the same channel. No more guys in the PvP channel PvPing while the students are all trying to figure out what's going on. But what about spies? Dude, if you have spies, we live in HEMQV in Curse. I think it's Sound? No, Elysium. Everybody knows where we're at. You want to spy on us? We're not hard to find. You bring too much, I'm not going to fight you. You bring just enough, I'm going to destroy you. There's all the intel you need, okay? So we get them in a PvP, we get them in the channel with us, and we sit there and we talk. Excuse me, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Don't worry about it. Just hang out, listen up. We'll tell you what you need to do. So like I said, 4 classes, a nullsec run, get some kills out there, and then you can decide what you want to do. Because And we do this, I mean, it's like spoon feeding, or, people like, oh, you hug them, they should be able to get out there and go get their stuff. And you're like, no, it's not spoon feeding, man. You got to teach people. You got to get them in here. You got to talk to them. You got to make them feel comfortable. Because everybody else in Eve, I would like to say, Eve is a role-playing game. Everybody's role-playing the same asshole. And don't get me wrong, my corp is full of assholes. One of them sitting right over there. All right? But, you don't have to be mean. You don't have to be hard. And especially for a new player, I don't need to take your ship and say, oh, suck it up, nude, harden up. This is Eve. I like to get, like, really hardened veterans coming out, and I can, after we kill them, we go, that guy's been playing for 2 weeks. Or, thanks, man, that was his first kill. Appreciate it. So that's what you do. Now, the fine thing I find that we have to do is you have to understand. I want all of you to be coaches too. All right, everybody needs a coach. In fact, I got a question. How many people here? I got to see. How many people here are new players? None. 1, 6. Okay, so all you guys are veterans, right? All you guys know what the fuck to do. I don't really think that's true, but. Because I was like playing with a whole bunch of people and go and click, and some new kid says, excuse me, what time's the next class? And I'm like, it's at 1900. Well, where's 19? How do I know what time it is? And I'm like, there's a clock right there. And they said, where? On the left hand? Oh my God, it's a calendar. Okay? I don't know everything. I know I don't know everything. All right? I got guys coming to my corp that teach me stuff. I had a guy who was, he stayed in East, he did the typical thing. He gets into high sec, and he's making money because he's got to afford his losses. So like, well, how did you make money, man? He's like, I did high sec complexes. I'm like, well, okay, whatever. He's like, I said, how much money do you make? He's like, I'm sitting on about $2.5 billion. I said, how long have you been playing? He's like, oh, about 8 months. I go, how do you make $2 billion in high sec complexes? So he starts explaining. I'm like, whoa, hold up. Hey, guys. I think we got a guy that can teach people new guys to make money. Because I couldn't make $2 billion ISK in 8 months when I was a new player, flying around and doing complexes in a freaking Vexor or something, whatever he was doing. So, somebody out there knows more than you, and somebody out there can go ahead and teach you. So, the first thing that you have to be an effective trainer or effective coach is you have to have a high level of knowledge, and you have to be willing to give it to somebody else. Right? I got to know what to do, and I got to be willing to share. No secrets. I'm making money over here. I'm not going to tell you because you're going to compete with me. EVE is a very competitive game. We have marketing PvP. I got marketing PvP guys in my corp. Right before Hulkageddon, I think one year we decided to buy all of the coveters in frickin' EVE because we figured somebody's going to need them for Hulks. Go. Everybody's like buying Hulks. We're buying coveters and laughing. But there's market PvP out there. Everything is PvP. When you undock in your ship, you're PvPing. PvP does not mean that you get a kill mail. Right? If I spend my entire time, if I spend my entire time running around not letting you kill me, because we are a null-sec survival corporation, all right, jump into a system and have somebody chase you around, and they are trying to kill you, and you're not letting them kill you, and if they don't kill you, you won. No kill mails were lost in the making of this movie. 2 minutes. The second thing you need. Oh wow. Well, the second thing you really need though is you need to care about other people. All right, and that's hard to say in EVE. We're not really friendly. But when you care about people and you care about their development, all right, then you're going to go ahead and you can be a really, really great coach, and you can be a really, you can help, CCP, just like Brad says, CCP is not going to do this by themselves, and CCP can't do this by themselves, all right? And if we all sit around and just drive all the players out, hey, new guy, how you doing, bam, bye, you're out, give me all your stuff, then we're never going to grow. CCP needs us to subscribe so that they can grow. and CCP needs new players to subscribe so they can grow. So I think I'm going to leave that at that. All right?
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you. Okay, that was okay. Woo. Anyways, we didn't get a time last year to give you guys a chance to ask questions, and I really told these guys we got to get to a point where we can get out there and have you ask us some questions, and we've got the exact amount of time I wanted to have to ask those questions. So if you have a question, I will come up to you because some reason every time you put a mic stand down here, you don't want to get up. So I'm going to serve you and walk around. So if you have a question, just raise your hand or just yell it out, but I got to take you the mic. Any questions? Oh, come on. There's one. There we go. I will.
Hi, I've got a few colleagues at the company which are slightly interested in EVE Online, but I don't know how exactly to get them hooked. I always tell them, well, do the 2-week trial and find out, but I don't know whether or not this is good for them. So do you have any proposal for getting people hooked in 2 weeks or within 2 weeks, within the trial period?
Myself, I feel like what really hooks people to EVE is not any of the gameplay. I don't think there's anything that you could specifically do gameplay-wise that's going to get someone hooked in 2 weeks. Rather, just befriending them and talking with them and playing with them and being very social and active with them gets people logging back in the next day and the next day and the next day. But even as a longtime player, there are parts of the game that get stale for me and don't interest me after a while. So I think a new player, gameplay itself is not going to be the thing.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Ben.
When you say that, you know, how do I hook them? The answer is none of us know. All right, because we don't know them, so we don't know what they would want to do. Are they people who like to do puzzles because they'll get into industry or something like that? EVE is such a big game and it's so broad that you can't answer the question. They're going to either fall in love with it or going to hate it. So just like Seth said, you know, you have to get them into TeamSpeak with you. You have to live with them. You have to talk with them. You have to help them figure it out. You have to coach them. That's the only way they're going to stay.
I usually ask, we got a question? You're raising your hand. I usually say this. If you're married, you'll be divorced. If you have a girlfriend, she'll leave you. And your kids will not know who you are after you play this game for that period of time. Do you really want to do that? And believe it or not, there are a lot of people that really want to do that. So I think that's the best answer. There is no answer to that. For me, it was falling in love with Star Blazers, growing up watching that anime, growing up watching Star Trek, Star Wars. I was ready for a game like EVE. The sad part, I didn't really get till I was 36. I mean, if I would have been a kid, I probably, you know, if this came out as a kid, I don't know if I would have had the same appreciation for how well it's developed along that. So it's whatever they like. So next question. Somebody has to have one. Here we go.
Yeah, hi. Okay. I just want a few thoughts actually on corporation growth, because my corporation, we had quite a lot of people coming in the last few weeks. We grew like a lot, and we were thinking about, we did a recruitment stop actually, just to let them all settle in. And what are your thoughts on corporation growth? How fast can they grow, and what you should be aware about, just basically?
we kick out people every month. If you don't log in, if we don't see you, we kick you out. So I'm a terrible person to tell you how to grow your corporation. I get new players every week. I get a half dozen to a dozen new players every week, and they either stay or they don't. So as far as growing, you know, what do you have to do to grow? In order to grow, you have to have something to give them. You know, they want fun. No, I mean, how do you, are you talking about the structure of running the corporation? Okay.
So this is kind of what I was talking about. What you need to do is, well, first of all, I assume that you have a very specific focus in the game. If you don't, that's your first thing that I think you should do. Don't spread yourself too thin, but identify the problems that your guys are having. So you're going to have a very wide, eclectic group of people. They're all going to have their individual problems, but try to identify the main issues, which for your corporation, you know, maybe something like you don't have enough chiefs, you don't have enough directors to keep everything organized. You know, maybe that's an issue you guys are running into. So create sort of a hierarchy, create a structure of your corporation that everyone can follow and understand. And so if you've got a lot of new people coming in, you're all strangers to each other right now. You know, spend the time getting to know one another, finding out what they need, finding out what they want, and then develop a system to implement a solution. So when you're growing really quickly, I feel like you've got to have a good, you know, platform or program in place. And if you don't have that yet, then I would really recommend getting that set up. That gives you the tools that you do need.
One of the things you really do need to do, though, is you have to have a way to communicate with all of these people. So you have to have a TeamSpeak server or Mumble or whatever. You have to have a form. I hate email is something that people like to use, but people miss, and you can't find anything in email. So if you're going to communicate with a lot of people, big forms, and but kind of very well organized and structured so that people don't just randomly put stuff and you can't find it later, because you're always going to want that other stuff later on.
Another question. Where? Oh, go ahead.
You have to think about, as a CEO, you are kind of a leader, yes, but for your core members, you're kind of, let's say, an entertainer, you know? You have to tell the people, okay, let's do this, and they will follow you. Especially when they are new, because they want to try it out. So you have to think about what can we do, or what might we do, and then let's entertain them, you know?
Delegate. Mine is corp management, just consume more alcohol and it all goes away. Another question. Anyone? Nope, here we go.
In the talk this morning, there was a graph where it was of all the new people, 40% of them go into solo missioning, 50% of them leave, and 10% of them go into these player experiences. How do we get people from the 40% solo missioning to trust us to go into the 10%, to get into these corporations where we can teach them?
I think it's through advertising. And when I started playing, I had guys that loved to make YouTube videos about us playing the game. It was about teaching classes with Eve University. I got the opportunity to go and do that, and they recorded the class. It's seeking out those opportunities to go coach, not within your own little world, but in the broader places in Eve. Because the minute you do that, the minute they see that they hear your voice and they know who you are, there will be people that like your connection, and they'll seek you out and be part of that. And then there may be some people that don't like you. So you have to accept the fact that advertising, getting out there, getting YouTube videos built, doing Eve movies and things like that. There was a gentleman for the Brave Newbies that made a movie about some of the fights in Providence and how DNS and NOR and all these pirate groups came together to fight. And I'm sitting there going, that was so much fun. And I didn't participate in it, but I was doing something in game, and then I had people seek me out. So I think advertising and marketing yourself is key, and you have to do it visually. Doing it through writing some fancy thing is a waste of time. You need to do it through you playing the game and people hearing your voice. I think that's very important. I know we're winding down on time, about 10 minutes. I have another question, but did you guys want to add anything else to that? Yeah. All right. In the back. I'm going to run up here.
All right, so from my experience, I find it quite easy to get on board pilots who are willing to follow your lead, to participate in certain operation. But it's extremely difficult to find someone who is willing to organize that thing, who is willing to organize something. How do you deal with that, and how do you find such people?
I'll take backup on this.
It's a really great question, and a problem I think all of us, when you asked, we're like, yeah, we've been there. The thing is, like I said, we're all volunteers. No one's paying us to train other people, and it is a lot of work. For my part, like I said earlier, we had a lot of turnover with our trainers because it's such a load of work. So I really tried to streamline and take the weight off of our trainers' shoulders as much as possible. And that really helped encourage people to actually do it, because they knew that, because for us, we're all mercenaries first and then we're trainers second, which isn't really a great thing for being a student of us. But so when you can make the burden less on people, it's easier to convince them to help out. And there is definitely a reward in just doing the training itself. So tell them that it's very rewarding, whether it is or not. Yeah, I would also I would also bribes are really good, in all seriousness. But so yeah, for us personally, what we did is we had websites built that helped us with the system, like the administration part, keeping notes and things like that. You don't have to go that far, but the less your guys are responsible for, and the more you can spread that load out, the easier it is to convince someone to actually be willing to do it.
And we're kind of like the exact opposite. We said, wow, we're really cool combat pilots and we're having a lot of fun, but the burden of training is too much, so everyone's training. So guys are like, what? I don't like talking. No, too bad. If you want to stay, you're going to train. So everybody's going to train, everybody's going to FC, everybody's going to step up. We are a team where many hands make light work, so we're going to make life easier on us all. And there was a lot of foot dragging and moping and crying, but eventually everybody got on board. There's only really probably 2 real extroverts in Open University of Celestial Hardship, and that's me and Jack Reacher. And everybody else is kind of like alpha personalities by training. So you will be, and go ahead and get out there. And they do, I'm not making any more fleets. You're making fleets today. Okay. Well, yeah, I do.
This is something even we have in Dust as well. It's one of the things is get on comms with people, talk to your corp mates, give people small tasks and see if they embrace it. And if they enjoy it, then you can explore that person's personality. See if there's someone that is willing to take leadership positions, willing to take, willing to set up spreadsheets, willing to do the tasks that are needed to keep the gears running. But you have to keep your ears open. You have to look in your, basically look through your current roster. Maybe there's someone in your corp that you didn't think of before, but you have a conversation with them and you give them an opportunity, and that's when you can find out if you actually have those people available.
I'm going to add in a little bit on that. I think it's also how diversified you are. It was simple for me. I picked out the Bomber, Black Ops, and everybody that came my way. We were like-minded, all focused on just that. And through that, we then all of a sudden started to find out what we call who are the doers. And when you have a court full of doers, you can force them to be doers too. But when you have a court full of doers, they begin to, as we began to go off of our focus of Black Ops and explore some other types of fighting, which, by the way, we're really bad at times. But it was, the doers took over. And it was no longer just myself being that driving force. I was no longer the coach. I then became a player when I allowed somebody to go out and do, and it's about allowing that to happen. And you know what? You're going to fail. They're going to fail. And that cliff that I showed you, that's exactly what's going to happen every time. But in the best part about that cliff, the crazy thing is, every one of those little stick figures is having an absolute ball climbing and then dying and climbing again and then dying. So that's the way you have to embrace the doers. And some of the harder parts for the A-type personalities is to do one of these things and go, all right, when the whistle blows, you're going to be first, all right? And as we go out there, and I'm going to go along for the ride. So be doers. Any more questions? Last one. In the back, anybody? I'm half blind. Here we go. I got one here. Oh, I'll try to get two in.
Hiya. I have actually a slightly different question related to Dust. I'm not a Dust player, so I'm just asking, what is the difference in the mentality of new players in Dust versus new players in Eve? Is there anything common, or is there anything very different do you need to shape those Dust players into something?
Well, don't worry, they all hate me, so besides that.
I would say with Dusters, you can't have lapses in content. You have there's kind of an immediacy with Dust players because your experience in Dust right now is limited to PvP. That's what you do 100% of the time, and you have to. I mean, that's kind of you have to look at that mentality. The fact that you're looking at people that not short attention spans, instant gratification is one of them. So you have to be willing to provide content. You need to be willing to provide content on short notice, and you need to be able to provide that in a steady stream, because even a week or a 2-week lapse is like an eternity, in an FPS. So that's probably I would say probably one of the most important things is make sure you're on top of providing content.
Me and Kane have been working together because I really love the Dust Link. I have been falling in love with it ever since my son plays, and I have finally embraced it, and I'm doing things. The biggest thing that I think you need to think about between Eve players and Dust players, and it's with the internet the way it is, age difference. Most of my Eve players are mature adults. We actually have a rule: you can't be 21 and under 21 in DNS. As we were moving Dust players in, we had to kind of look at that rule, but we had to kind of separate things because you're going to have console players, which the age of console players, you don't see that age in EVE Online that much unless their dad is, strapped into the chair and they're mining so he can make ISK, all right? But what I'm saying is I think that one of the differences you have to think about as you include Dusties playing. And I think that age difference is going to change now that there's this PC generation going to be coming up over the next 10 years. So I'm excited about that, but that was one of my biggest challenges because sometimes on comms and while we game, we kind of cut loose. I mean, you drink way too much to kill the lag, and then you just have fun. So think about the age differences as you try to incorporate Dust players. About 5 more. All right, I got time for one more in the back, and then we're gonna wrap this up. If I could get that movie. I'm out of time now. No more questions. Thank you. You should run down and beat me. All right. Thank you very much. Enjoy FanFest. I appreciate you guys showing up. I hope you enjoyed this, and If that bourbon is anywhere in the house, I would like it a little bit before I go away. Oh, look, a goon grabbed it, I think. Look at him. I'm teasing. Oh, great. All right. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of FanFest.